Okay, this is a video about my Mattel Aquarius home computer, which I originally bought in, I think, about 1983. This is not the one I bought, because the one I bought I kept for about a year and a half and then sold it and bought a Commodore in its place. And then a few years later, at a boot sale, I picked this one up for maybe £5 or so. And it never really ran. It's just been sat in the attic for 30 odd years. Now, a couple of years ago, I did pull it out the attic, tested it, and it worked. And I did try to make a small video on it, but it didn't turn out very well, so I left it as it was. I've got it back out today because late at night on the old internet, I found an upgrade for it, which is a RAM pack. Okay, oops, get out there. Right, it's a RAM pack, but unfortunately it's one of these upgrades that you've actually got to build yourself. So it's got some chips in there, and it's got the circuit board, what have you. Now this is a 16K RAM pack. All right, so the RAM pack was very important, because I'm going to give you a little bit of history about this machine now. Basically, from what I can make out, it was a bit of a rush project in that Mattel wanted to get in on the home computer market, and they basically purchased a machine that was 99% ready to go. But for one reason or another, they made some poor decisions. The machine, although it is colour, is very simple. It has very limited memory. It has 4K of memory, 2K of which is actually assigned to the graphics, which means that you're only left with 2K. And after the system uses some of those variables, you're left with about 1.7K to which to write programs, which is basically non-existent. I think the whole philosophy about this machine was that you would use cartridge games, therefore circumvented the need to have lots of memory in the computer. So you would buy the cartridge game would go in there, you plug it in and you'd switch it on, and then you play the game. And this would have, of course, meant that Mattel could keep a tighter control on what software was available, and no doubt receive a commission for it. Now, for those that did want to program bigger programs, you could get a RAM pack for it. And I believe initially a 16K RAM pack, although later I believe a 32K RAM pack came out as well. So that was a very limiting factor, the memory, which you could upgrade the computer and get around that. But like I say, I think they were intending that all the software was going to become on cartridge, which wouldn't have needed the larger memory anyway. It did come with BASIC, but it came with a very stripped out BASIC. The commands, lots of useful commands are missing. But again, you could buy a cartridge, and the cartridge had an expanded BASIC on it. So then you might be thinking, well, how do you get an expanded BASIC and the extra memory? Well, there was an expander you could buy which had 2 cartridge slots, so you could put a program and extra memory at the same time. And this expander also included some joystick ports, and also included an extra sound chip as well. This machine has very, very basic sound. It basically can go beep in various frequencies, and whilst it's making a noise, the computer does lock up, so it can only make noises when it's not doing anything else. However, with the expander port on, you could get quite elaborate sound out of it, apparently. Of course. Okay, so I'm now searching for the TV channel on my television. Should point out that the TV only the computer only has an RF output. There's no video output on this machine. You get a cassette port, which goes into a standard cassette player, although Mattel did make their own. You have a printer port, which is serial. Again, there was an Aquarius power printer. And the power supply, as you can see, is actually hardwired in. So it's hardwired in there, and then it goes to a power pack, and then goes to a plug. But like I say, the only way you can connect it to a television is RF. So we're going to see now if it'll tune in. Oh, it's thinking about it. No. I don't actually know what channel this will be tuned into. Oh, here we go. 590. Right. I've got to save this now. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I'd like this to look a bit better. Unfortunately, this is not a CRT television. This is an LCD, and yeah, I'm sure if it was on an LCD, it'd look a bit better. But what it's doing is it's cycling through the 16 colours that it has, and it says basic, press return key to start. So you press the return key, which is this little key here, and there we go, it kicks in. Copyright 1982 by Microsoft Inc. So this is the basic. I believe this is the second generation of the software, that's why it's there. And it says OK. And then you can type in your program. Run the program, and there you go. So there we go. Now the computer, when it was supplied, came with this overlay, which comes off. Okay, and it shows you some simplification shortcuts you could use. So for example, if you wanted to use the cload command, all you would have to do is go Control cload, and then it would write it on the screen. So that's a handy little shortcut thing. Obviously this is only for basic. If you've got a cartridge game, for example this Astro Smash, it would come with another overlay which would tell you where the keys are that you need to press in order to play the game, which is quite a neat little idea. Now, like I said, this isn't the computer I bought. This is a secondary one that I bought a few years later, and I never had a cartridge game, but this machine did come with this cartridge game, but unfortunately it doesn't work. If I take that out of there and plug that into there and switch it back on again, there we go. We'll get that much, which looks all quite good, doesn't it? Aquarius, home computer system, Astro Smash, copyright 1982. But when you try to get past that screen, nothing happens. You can press whatever key you want, whatever combination, and it just doesn't work. Right, now this could be a problem. Obviously my RAM pack is going to have to go in the same slot, so it is possible that there's a fault in the computer or in the cartridge port. So this might be a very unsuccessful little project. I want to show you something now though. If you look at the way Aquarius is being written, it's been written in a rather curious way with strange shapes making up the letters and everything, and indeed even worse when you get to the Astro Smash, it's all very blocky. And this represents really the main problem with the Mattel Aquarius. It came with a good book, and it shows you in here that the screen is divided basically into 1,000 squares, into which you can put any character that's available within the ROM. So, for example, if we were to go with that little shape there, you can see it's a triangle. So that must be in here somewhere. And there they are. Okay. So by placing that character into that's out there, when it into that square, you get that shape on the screen. The problem is that unlike every other computer system that was available at the time, or the vast majority anyway, these weren't redefinable. these are the characters that you got. You couldn't change them. So as a result, this little shape here and this little shape here makes a man, and you can make his arms move and you can make his legs move and you can create a nice little bit of animation. And again here you make his legs go up and down. And these are in the ROM, but you can't change them. So if you've got a computer game of, I don't know, Pac-Man or anything, or I don't know, whatever the game would be, even Harry Potter, it would have to look like this. This is the only shapes that this computer can generate. As far as I can tell, the graphics ROM is on a completely separate bus to the main computer, so there's physically no way you could have a massive RAM pack and a massive ROM cartridge and you still can't change these graphics, which is why you ended up with this. And I think that was really the thing that really put the nail in the coffin of this thing. Right, so that's my Duff cartridge, which, like I say, doesn't work. Well, reset works though. And yes, I have been in here and had a look, and I've changed the logic chips, but I can only guess that there's an error in the ROM cartridge that prevents the program running. Either that or there's something really fundamentally wrong with the whole thing. Right, so now it's time to build my RAM pack. Okay, chips this side, okay. So I've got that. And basically we've got two chip sockets. One that goes in there. One that goes in there. So they need soldering in, and then these chips will be put into the machine. I wonder why the numbers have been taken off that. I wonder if it's second hand. Have I looked at that before? Well, that looks like a brand new chip, but this one, maybe not. Anyway, who cares? It was cheap. Right, so I'm going to solder this up and let's see what happens. Okay, so I've built it, but I've just now realised that there's no indication as to which way is up. Now you'd assume that the chips are on the top surface, but I can't guarantee that, not 100%. And seeing as if I break this computer, I'm probably going to be quite upset about it. I think I better go and have a look online. There's no instructions came with this kit, so I'm going to have a look online now and see what it says. Okay, so it shows the chips facing upwards. It's always worth a check, isn't it? This is basically where I got it from. You Make Robots. I've got no idea who this company is. It says here, notice the chips are facing upwards, do not insert the PCB the other way. So yeah, 16K. One pack, right. Time to see if it works. Okay, so it definitely goes in that way up. Right, now I wanted to see how much memory it was reporting to start off with. So I'm going to press return, which gets me onto there. I'm going to type in print, but I'm going to, now if memory serves me right, print, you could use the question mark for print, space, FRE, Shift X. Right, so I've typed that in, which is from the rather excellent user guide that came with the computer. So I've typed in, there we are, print free X. So press return, and there we go. So that's how much memory I've got at the moment, which is 1,724 bytes of RAM. And that's basically the available RAM, which was 2,048 minus the 200 odd bytes that it needs to make the computer work. So, time to put the cartridge in, so switch it off. Right, okay, I've put the cartridge in. So is this going to go off with a bang or something weird? Here it goes. Oh, well, still saying basic, that's good. Press return. Oh, that's still working, that's good. And now I'm going to do exactly the same as I did last time. So print free Press return. Wow, look at that. 18,108 bytes of RAM. It worked. Right. Now I've got a bit of a strange thought. I wonder if that RAM pack will go inside this, what is admittedly a useless box. Make a neat job of it, wouldn't it? Let's have a look. Okay, so this is my Astro Smash game, and this is the RAM pack, and unfortunately, they're slightly different. Down here, everything looks alright, but at the top, where the screws come through the cartridge game, there isn't the corresponding holes in the cartridge, in the RAM pack. Now, having a look at it, it does appear that there isn't anything critical in these areas. So I think I'm going to have a go at invalidating the warranty. Okay, with some warranty impairing drilling, I've managed to get that cartridge to fit inside the old Astro Smash cartridge. I was going to put my little label on top of the original Astro Smash label, but I thought if I did that I might be able to peel it back off again. It might damage this original label. You never know. The original cartridge might end up being worth quite a bit of money at some point. You never know. So at least with this method I can always put back to original. Right, okay, and of course if I get another cartridge I can put it in there. Okay, so what can I do with my newfound extra memory? Well, purely as an experiment, I'm trying to load a 16 kilobyte game. It's got about 30 seconds to go. Okay, only a few seconds to go. Oh, there we are. Aquarius Defender. Right, Mr. Baker. You know what? The old Aquarius wasn't too bad, was it? Plus it's got a decent bit of memory in it. Well, I never. I'm quite impressed by that. Okay, I just wanted to tag this on because this is from the old video that I tried to do but gave up on the end. This here is a representation of what the screen looks like. It's like I say 1,000, well not quite 1,000, but 1,000 cells. Into each cell you can place a character, but you can also place a colour. Now the basic on this machine, A, runs quite slow, which was common with all basic interpreted 8-bit machines at the time. But unfortunately this basic that comes with the computer, it's been stripped out because if you wanted to use basic properly, then you'd have to use the expansion cartridge. So it was missing some key commands. And one of the key commands that's missing is the ability to change the background color instantaneously. The only way you can get it to change the background color is to literally go through every cell, in this particular case from that cell there to that cell there, and to poke, i.e. change the value in that cell to a different number and then put it into a loop. And this took some time. In fact, I am going to show you just how long it took. There you go. So if I was writing a computer program that wanted to change the background color, that was the routine you had to write to change the background color. Now there is a second part of the program there. Now as you saw there, the background color changed instantaneously. Now, the reason behind that was, and right, if you wanted the screen to changed instantaneously, like you saw there, you basically had to write an assembly language program. And in this particular case, the assembly language program, I've put at the end here. So these random numbers are actually assembly language instructions to the CPU. And basically that bit of code there, although it makes no sense here, actually is doing the same thing that you saw the original bit of the program do, where it literally just goes through and changes all 1000 cells to the different color. The difference between this machine code here and the basic code is the speed in which you can do it. So if I do it again, you can see that that's how fast it is in basic. I mean, that's taken a good 5 or 6 seconds. And if we do the same routine in assembly language, it's instantaneous. And that was the difference. That's the reason why all programs, all games programs particularly, for these 8-bit computers had to be written in machine code. The rest of this little demonstration that I programmed before does a couple of things. First of all, it shows you, like I said before, you're fixed with these shapes you can do, and there's the shapes on the screen. I've used 2 different colours so that it makes them look a bit more interesting. And you saw how fast you're moving across the screen. That's the fastest you can make that character move in BASIC. And if you've got several characters, well, you're going to have to share that speed between the 7 characters, so you can see how slowly a game that involved action would have to go. So that was the Sideways Man. What else is on here? Oh yeah, this is all the characters that are in the ROM, which is basically just what's in this book. Okay, so you got all those, and like I say, you can have any combination of 16 foreground and background colors in any cell that you want as well. So the ability to I can't focus. The ability to produce some interesting graphics was almost there. And as you saw in that Defender game, you know, the computer, if you were clever with your choice of building bricks that you used to make the graphics, and it certainly had the speed. The sound in that game wasn't very good, but if you bought the expansion pack, which is in the book, here we go. Put the light on. If you bought this expansion pack here, it allows you to plug 2 cartridges in. Should we notice actually, hang on, if I switch this off, if you look at these cartridges, they've got the name on the front, obviously, so that when it's plugged in you can see it, but they've also got it on the top as well. And the reason they had to do that was because when it was plugged in here, you'd only ever see the top of the cartridge. So anyway, this is the expander, so you've got joystick sort of things. You could plug 2 cartridges in, so you could plug a program and a RAM pack in, for example. But it also included some better sound as well. I don't know if it's going to focus in, but yeah, it includes 2 more sound channels. And these sound channels were independent of the processor, I believe, so it could actually do sound whilst doing other things, and that meant that the sound was actually half decent on this machine, in theory. This is the printer that came with it. It didn't come with it, but you could get for it, and that plugged in that serial port. I did actually have one of these. Paid 15 quid for it, an Aquarius data recorder. It was just a standard cassette player, but it was in a box that kind of looked a bit like the computer itself. I had a quick look through here actually. It actually makes no mention of RAM packs in here at all. The cartridge port accepts programmed Aquarius game cartridges or the mini expander module, which would suggest to me that they really were not expecting anyone to load anything off tape. The basic interpreter was really just used for just learning very basic programming, I suppose, which I suppose a lot of parents thought was a good idea for the children. And like I say, it was my first computer. I was about 13. Um, I wrote a lot of programs on it, a lot of games. Really enjoyed it. I liked it. I never, but just one day I went and bought a Commodore, and someone offered me some money for the old one, so I sold it. But like I say, I was able to get this second one a few years later, and it's never ever been used until it was pulled out of the attic maybe a couple of years ago, powered up, proved that it worked, and then the other day I thought I'd get this 16K RAM pack. So I suppose I'm going to have to go through eBay now and see if I can find some cassette games for it, and maybe have a go at that Defender again. Mattel Aquarius.